In 1024 AD, there was an island that did not exist on any map. They called it the Island of the Last Bell. Every time the bell rang, someone disappeared into the fog. Even a queen was taken there and erased from history forever. 1024 AD, near the frozen northern coast of Europe, stood a small island called Valdar. Today, no map remembers it. No history book records its existence. Only old sailors once whispered its name in fear, the Island of the Last Bell, because every midnight a bell rang there, and whenever the bell echoed across the sea, someone disappeared. People believe that beneath the island, hidden inside the black stone cliffs, there was a secret chamber where prisoners had been kept for centuries. Not ordinary prisoners, rebels, traitors, prophets, and once, even a queen. Her name was Elisara. History never wrote her down, because history was written by the people who destroyed her. But the night she was captured became a whisper that survived for generations, because she was not simply executed, she was erased, completely. Elisara was born during a time when the church was more feared than kings. A king could kill a man, but the church could erase his existence. She ruled the kingdom of Norvel, a small northern realm with a terrifying navy. They refused taxes, they refused submission, and worst of all, they refused the religion spreading across Europe. That became their crime. Emperor Lucian declared, "Any kingdom that rejects our faith will cease to exist." Then the war began. 4 years of winter, famine, fire. Rivers turned red with bodies. But Norvel did not surrender, because Elisara stood at its center. She rode beside her soldiers, slept beside their fires, and her people said, "The queen does not fear." But everyone fears something. Some simply hide it better. In the winter of 1024, that fear became real. Betrayal. Someone inside the fortress opened the gates during the night. Imperial soldiers flooded the castle. Children screamed through burning halls. Elisara fought until her sword finally snapped in half. Then chains closed around her wrists. But strangely, she was not executed. The emperor wanted something worse than death. 3 weeks later, a massive procession marched toward the capital. Priests in the front, soldiers behind them, and then Elisara. Her crown had been removed, but they intentionally left her dressed in royal clothing, because this was not transportation. It was theater, a message. Look at your queen now. Crowds lined the roads. Some spat, some threw stones. Others only stared in silence. But Elisara never lowered her head. The emperor hated that. And that same night, a decision was made. She would not die publicly, because a public death could turn her into a martyr. Instead, she would be sent somewhere people never returned from. Valdar, the island of the last bell. The island rose from the sea like black teeth. And at the center stood an enormous cracked bell, ancient, rusting. People believed the bell rang whenever the underground chambers opened, where prisoners vanished forever. This was not a prison. It was a place of forgetting. Anyone the empire wanted erased was brought there. No trial, no records, no graves, only darkness. When Elisara arrived, dried blood still covered her wrists. 2 monks dragged her down stone stairs, wet walls, cold air, and deep below the island, she heard whispers. At first she thought it was wind, but then she realized they were voices, human voices, prisoners trapped inside the walls, people no one would ever search for again. The prison had strange rules. On the first day, prisoners lost their names. On the second, their hair was cut. On the third, they were forbidden from speaking their native language. Because Valdar was never designed to imprison bodies.
Lesson for us from this history.
1. When power turns fear into a weapon, people slowly lose their voice. The rulers who try to erase memory are often the ones most afraid of the truth. 2. Taking away someone's identity can be worse than taking their life. Chains on the body may one day break, but chains on the soul can survive for generations. 3. Silence is not always peace. Sometimes it is fear disguised as order. Where people are afraid to speak, darkness becomes the true ruler. 4. History is not only the story of the victors, it is also the echo of the forgotten. The names that are erased often leave behind the loudest ghosts,